Hello there, and welcome back. We are still in the categorical data module. So if you go to this third section, and let's just briefly review, we talked about what categorical data is. You learned how to do a bar graph. We did our mean, median, mode, and range for our bar graph. And now we are up to a circle graph. Excuse me. And this is one of my very favorite chapters. I absolutely love circle graphs because I love percents. I like to work with percents. I just think they're a lot of fun. So hopefully you will too. And when you get finished with these next couple of pages, you'll know how to read and draw a circle graph if you need to. So the first thing I want to look at is the definition of circle graph. And I'm not sure if I wrote this down for you or not. This is a little unusual that this is already written here. So if I didn't, if you will please pause the video and write your definition, and then we'll talk about what it means. A circle graph is sometimes called a pie chart because it looks like a pie that's cut into different sized slices. And its purpose is to show how parts are related to a whole. And these are very often done with percent or parts out of 100. So let's take a look at this particular graph that shows the preference for car color. So maybe I work for Ford Motor Company or Chevrolet, and we are doing a survey about people's favorite car colors because we're trying to decide which cars will sell more readily. So I may call people on the phone and ask them, given these choices, what is your preference for car color? Now remember the kind of data we're talking about. Categorical, things that I can put into categories. And in this case, I have red cars, yellow cars, gray cars, blue cars, and white cars. And the first thing I want you to notice is something very critical to this kind of problem. I want to add up my percentages. So I'm going to start with the 10% for the white, 30% for red, 28% for yellow. I'm not sure I buy that one. Gray is 7, and 25% for blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slices of pie. So I want you to add those up on your calculator. 10 plus 30 plus 28 plus 7 plus 25 is 100. If you're dealing with percent, the 100% is the whole pie. And I'll tell you what, let's put that over here. 100% is the whole pie. And that is critical to be able to do this kind of math. If you're dealing with percentages, the 100% is the whole pie. So let's do some problems based on this graph. And I have told you a key piece of information right here. To assume that I called 10,000 people on the phone and asked them what their favorite car color was. So then we have this chart that I want to fill in, and I'm going to show you how to do that. We're supposed to come up with the percent and then the number of people that we actually talked to that said, this is my favorite. So let's start off with the white one right here. And I'm going to change colors as I go so we can keep track of what's happening. But here's the problem that we need to set up, and hopefully you have watched the calculator tutorial. To do a percent problem the way that I taught you in that video back in the beginning, you have to know this little formula. So if you've done that tutorial, you're going to use that right here. The trick is the percent over 100 equals part over whole. This is the general percent formula, or one way to do it. So here's the white percent. So I'm going to put my little percent proportion right here. Remember, the whole pie is 100, and 10% of the people said they like the white cars. So the whole amount, all the people that I asked were 10,000. And so I'm going to multiply. Again, if this is Greek to you, you need to go back and watch the video. So 10 times 10,000, 10 times 10,000. This is not the best one to have started with, but since I'm already into it, divided by 100. Be careful with those zeros, guys. I should not have started with this one. Is 1,000 people like white cars? Okay, so let's do the percent for blue. Set up your proportion. 100 is the whole pie. 25% like blue cars out of 10,000 that we asked. So here is the peanut. You always multiply a peanut. 25. And this is a huge number. Don't panic, because we're going to divide it by the number that's not in the peanut. So 2,500 people like blue cars. And this one up here was the white ones. So then I'll move on over here to the gray. And let me try to find a gray that we can actually see. So I'm going to put percent over 100. Only 7% said they liked gray out of that 10,000. So you will draw the peanut and multiply. Divide by the number that's not in the peanut. If you can do this in your head, that's awesome. So 700 like gray. And then yellow, again, I'm not so sure about this. Do you think that's true for yellow? 28%. I'm thinking of school bus yellow, so maybe, I don't know. But let's see, 28% of that 10,000. And guys, remember, there are other ways to do percents. If you have learned another way, that is fine. I'm just doing this in case you don't know another way. So 2,800 like yellow. And then finally red. So we have 30% who like red out of 10,000 people that I asked. This is the biggest slice of the pie, so I would expect this to be the biggest number. And that sure enough comes up to be 3,000 people like red cars. So what I've done there is to go around the pie and calculate the percentages for each one of those. So let's fill in our table down here at the bottom. The yellow folks, the percent was 28%, and the number was 2,800 people. So on these phone calls, 2,800 people said I like yellow. On the gray, I had 7%, or 700 people liked gray cars. Blue, we had 25%, or 1/4 of the 10,000, which is 2,500 people like blue cars. White, we had 10%, or 1,000 people chose white. And then red, which was our most popular choice, was 30%, or 3,000 people. Now, just out of curiosity, what should I come up with if I add this column? If I add up the numbers, which represent the actual people that I called on the phone, what would I come up with if I add the columns? So let's do that. Let's do 2,800 plus 700 plus 2,500 plus 1,000 plus 3,000 equals 10,000. Well, that makes me feel good because that's how many calls I made. And then let's add the percent column and make sure that we get, what should we get in the percent column? The whole pie is 100%, which is the same as 10,000 people. So we can be very sure that our math is in good shape there. Okay, that's an introduction to a circle graph. And in the next video, we will look at another circle graph that involves rent. Not just rent, but monthly expenses. I'm sorry. We're going to budget out a paycheck. So I'll see you in the next video for one more circle graph.